I need to add another amp rig, like a B rig. So I looked at that and I'm thinking, where's that line that I drew myself? What a great excuse to buy an amp that I've wanted for bloody ages. The question I was asking myself then was, do I like it? Do I like the sound of the Marshall? I'm not sure, to be honest with you. Well, I mean, I'm not an expert, bear in mind, and you might say, oh, that's because you made it sound shit. Guitaristas is proudly supported by Gear for Music. Hello, thanks for joining us. Welcome to the Guitaristas. I'm surrounded by chaos this morning, as you can see. Yeah, something a little bit different. Something that I've been putting off doing for a very long time, actually, for far too long, to be honest with you. And I've been putting it off because I knew it would involve doing this, kind of mucking around, moving cameras and stuff, trying to do too many things at once, really. And it's always a bit trial and error, really. Once you get your cameras, your rig set up and that, you play easy, bang them out, week in, week out, review those guitars, piss. But then you think, well, I've been thinking for ages, I need to mix it up. I've been saying for ages, I need to add another amp rig, like a B rig, what I call a B rig. So we've got the A rig, which is the Princeton 65 with the aux attenuator. We've been using it for years now. And it's a brilliant amp. It really is a brilliant amp. And I use that and that's it. And the excuse that I use for not using anything else is, well, that gives us a kind of a level playing field for all the guitars that we review here, which is fair enough. But wouldn't it be nice to, to be able to give a different flavour of amplification from time to time? Yes, of course it would. So I've been saying, oh yeah, I should have a B rig, easy enough to set up even a wet dry, a 2 amp rig, or even a 3 amp rig, so that we can go, oh look, this is what the guitar sounds like through this and this and this. But I haven't done it yet until today. One of the excuses that I've been using is that I didn't have a decent attenuator, power soak. Like on the Princeton, I use the aux box, which is like a 1,200 quid attenuator. It's an important bit of kit. It's probably the best investment I ever made, to be honest with you. I've used it on the Princeton forever, because the Princeton, although it's only 12 watts, it's fucking loud, okay? It's too loud. So to get it to that sweet spot that we hear week in, week out, we have to push it through a power soak, which is the aux. And it's brilliant, and it does the job beautifully. But they're expensive. I couldn't afford another one, and although I've got a little collection of cheap, what they call passive attenuators. I've got some here. Look, I've got a what's that? A Dr. Z brake light. I've got a buggerer, one of those. I reviewed that. Good little thing. I've got this. It was so cheap, I wasn't sure about it, to be honest with you. And I've got the 2 notes torpedo. So I'm being a little bit careful here because I have got the microphone clipped to my guitar strap, which may or may not be successful. So I'm trying not to bang it. Yeah, I've got the 2 notes. That's probably the best one. And again, I think it's what they call a passive. It's just like a heat sink, basically, isn't it? Yeah, there's no. Oh, I don't know. It might be reactive. Problem with that one, it's only got one level of attenuation. I think it's minus 20 dB. And I've found that it's never enough. It's not enough. Whereas the aux, you've got these settings 1 to 5, I think it is. So I've been using that excuse. I haven't got a decent enough power soak. And I say decent enough. I don't want to knock these. They all work, but one or another of them have caused me problems in the past. I've used them. I've cranked an amp, and it didn't like it. It blew a fuse, or it blew a capacitor, I think it was. I'm not sure. I can't definitely blame it on one of these. I'm not going to say which one it was. I can't definitely blame it on one of these, but the point is, I don't trust them. I don't trust them to use on, any of my amps now, to be honest with you. So until now, I've not done it. So that's the long, waffly excuse version of why I haven't set up a B-rig yet. Unfortunately, for me, not you, a company called Adam Hall Audio have seemingly messed that up. I have no longer an excuse, because a couple of weeks ago, a guy called Rich from Adam Hall Audio, they're a big company, German company, I think, and they make lots of studio equipment, backroom equipment, leads, cables. I'm sure you've heard of them. Rich reached out and said, we've seen the channel. Is there anything we can do? Can we do some collaborations, whatever? All the stuff that YouTubers do with people, except for me, because I don't do that. I don't do paid reviews, sponsored reviews. I buy all my gear. You should know that. So I said, look, thanks, really appreciated, but it's not really what I do. But thanks, but let's keep in touch. He said, great, no problem at all. Anything you want, anytime, anything we do to help, just reach out. So I made the mistake then of looking on their website. Adam Hall Audio, say, big company, got various brands, including Palmer. Now, Palmer, I think, pretty much invented the power soak. And I see on their website this. It's the Palmer Supreme Soaker. It's an expensive bit of kit. It's not as expensive as the aux. It's sort of the same thing. This one is around about 800 quid, and it's a reactive load box, just like the aux. So I looked at that and I'm thinking, where's that line that I drew myself? Because I can't afford to go and buy it, but it'd be really useful, wouldn't it? So I got back in touch with Rich and I said, thing is that he's kind of winking at me. I'm not going to be able to review it and do stuff like that, but it would be really useful to have that in my rig. If you fancy sending me one, we could probably use it and it'll be on display if nothing else. So, well, here it is. I'm holding my hands up. I haven't paid for it. I'm going to use it today, hopefully, and we're going to set up our B-rig. So, having now got no excuse and an expensive reactive load box that won't blow me amps up, hopefully, I thought, well, what amp should we use it on? My first thought was the Vox AC15. I've got lots of big amps, but I wanted to stick low. Low, not what you call low power. I mean, the Princeton's 12 watts. That needs a lot of attenuation to get the decent, cooking sound out of it. I thought AC15, but then I discovered AC15's closed back. I'll put in a shot here so you can see what I mean. Not easy to plug in a power soak, because you have to basically plug the power soak into the amp and into the speaker. It goes in between. Not easy to do with an AC15. So I looked at various other options, and then I went shopping, of course. What a great excuse to buy an amp that I've wanted for bloody ages. The Marshall Studio Classic JCM800 Studio. So what we're going to do now is stop talking, and we're going to dial this in, okay? and we're going to put it into the rig, and we're going to hear the difference between the A rig and the B rig. Let's get on with it. Right, here we go. So I'm going to start by saying, so I've spent a little bit of time dialing the Marshall in, okay, and I'm not going to bore you with all that because it is dull. They're difficult. They're really difficult. I always find Marshalls difficult. It's very bright and it can very easily sound a bit shit. So what I did is I watched a film that Tom Bukovac made, dialing in a JCM, and he's talking about the way the tone stacks work and stuff on it, and I sort of followed his advice really, and basically you can see that from the shot. I've got, you know, the EQs are like, we're hardly using them because it's so bright. What he says is the the bass is useless, the middle works as treble, and the treble and the presence are only things that dogs can hear. So, and what he also says is, I'll put a link to this video in the description box, watch it later. If you have the preamp beyond about 3, it sounds like all those 90s hair metal bands, or 80s hair metal bands. So what I've got the master volume cranked and the preamp on about 3, and yeah, you can see what the EQs are on. And I've got what a nice sound. Actually, before I show you what that sound is, let's just hear the Fender Princeton rig as it is, okay? I've got the guitar going into the tuner, into this orange detonator, which then splits the signal, okay? A, which is green on there, I believe, goes through the board, through the looper and into the Princeton. And then B, which would be red on there, goes direct into the Marshall, and it's completely dry. There's no reverb on it or anything, okay? First off, let's just hear the Princeton rig. This is the rig we always use with this guitar, which is absolutely one of my favourites at the moment, I must say. It's pretty ballsy already, isn't it? That's the point I wanted to make, is it sounds, to my ears, it sounds really good. There's no pedals on that at all at the moment. I don't think I'll bother using any of these pedals at all today. It's not about the pedals, it's about the amps. So this is that rig. So there's nothing wrong with that. It sounds good. But, you know, variety is the spice of life. So I thought we'd try and put a bit of higher gain in, because that's nice. I mean, that's about where I like it. But the Marshall, yeah, different flavour. So we're going through a little Marshall 1x12 cab that I picked up second-hand a while back for about 60 quid. eBay purchase, I think it was. There's a shot of it. That's what it looks like. I've got the head over here at the moment so that I could muck around with it. But we'll have a shot of that rig. It's at the back there, mic'd up, same as the Princeton. They're just mic'd up. If you look in the description box, the mics and the signal chain is all in there. But all I'm doing is micing the speakers up and they're going into Pro Tools, okay? No post EQ or anything, okay? This is what they sound like. So, what does Marshall sound like? Yeah, stop talking, Cole. All right, I've got it on the high gain setting. That's the levels, I told you about those already. It's going through the Supreme Soaker, with speaker attenuation on 3. All I'm doing is using this as a power soak. Ignore all this because I'm not using it at the moment. If you want to see a review of this, a proper review of this, I'll put a link to Anderton's did one. Link in the description box. It'll explain a little bit more about this. It's just analog. It's an all analog power soak. So all I'm doing is using the using it as a load box, taking the weight out of the amp. If you use it, you can use it direct into the door. So you don't need a speaker. You can plug into it. You can use it with headphones. You can go straight into your door, and then you can use this line EQ thing, which Danish Pete and the captain will explain. And likewise, there's this analog speaker tone setting, so you can actually change the tone or add some EQ to your speaker rig. That's as detailed as I'm going to get. I'm on 3, power soak only, nothing else, amp, high gain. There you go. So I just want to show you, I'm on the high. A lot of you will be saying, well, the JCM Studio has already got an attenuator built in. It's got a low power setting. Let me show you what that sounds like. If you watch the dB meter, you'll see the level. You won't probably be able to hear it because of YouTube compression, but so this is, there you go, and it's around about 85-ish plus dBs on the high setting through the power soak at 3. If I turn the power soak to bypass, which you can do with this, well, in fact, let me show you. That's on 3, that's on 2. 92 dBs. 1, 98 dBs, bypass. Yeah, it's nice, but quite dangerous without earplugs. Standby setting, so bypass standby. It's still 98 dB. So the built-in attenuators, shit. Don't go getting one of these thinking you can use it in your bedroom, because you can't. Unless you've got a massive garden around your house and earplugs. Right. So yeah, so there you go. So we're on high, we're on 3. And you're still getting a nice ring, aren't you? So let's contrast again, Princeton. It's where the magic happens. I'm going to put a loop down now, bearing in mind the looper is only working on the Fender at the moment, so I've got no idea what it's going to sound like. Let's have a check my level. I'm going to turn the loop level up there, just to give it a fighting chance. And I'll muck around in post. I'll try and give you a little bit of a stereo spread between the two amps. Okay, let's play. I can't obviously loop with my foot, so I'm going to be doing a bit of arse looping. Let's get into the position. Right, here we go. The fine art of arse looping. 2, 3, 4. See, that's a fine example of a bad loop. Obviously, the only thing you need to worry about with a loop is to get the beat the same, start and finish. And when you're arse looping, it's a little bit harder. Let's try that again. Here we go. I'll simplify the chords. Nearly. Okay. So that was yesterday, and the question I was asking myself then was, do I like it? Do I like the sound of the Marshall? So I've stopped and done some editing and listened, and I'm not sure, to be honest with you. The jury's out. It's such a distinctive sound, and I think that I've sort of dialed it into the Marshall sound. It's got, well, I mean, I'm not an expert, bear in mind, and you might say, oh, that's because you've made it sound shit, Cole. I might have done, but we're not all experts, are we? And if you got this, you want to try and make it sound good. I find it's got a very narrow sort of operating window. The preamp, I've got the preamp on 4 now, which is a little bit maybe fizzier than I'd like it, but it's very sensitive. If you go any higher, you're wearing spandex, and any lower, it just sounds like the Fender. So, that's what I got this week. That's the sound that I got. It's dry, isn't it? There's no reverb on the Marshall, which I've always found troublesome with a lot of the Marshall amps. They don't have reverb on them. I've sort of the opinion that things sound a bit shit without any reverb anyway. The whole idea, I suppose, of this rig is that it could be a wet, dry rig, and that might sound good. Of course, we can always add a bit of a reverb pedal to the Marshall anyway. So, I mean, I suppose it's a work in progress, but initially, I'm not blown away with what we've achieved this week. So there we have it. I think a little bit more experimentation is needed, and the jury's out. Will this be my B rig? I don't know at the moment. I think we might have to experiment with some other stuff. I think we might have to try the Vox, see what that sounds like. Because I'm not hearing a wow, personally. The Fender, it always sounds good, and you can make it sound like all sorts of things with these or whatever. This, if you clean it up a little bit more, it'll just sound like the Fender. I don't know, and it might just be the style of bluesy bollocks that I play. That's definitely a thing, isn't it? I mean, that's definitely it, because if you play different styles, that might be the amp for you. But for me, for my B rig, I don't know. What do you think? Let me know, and it's a work in progress. We'll play some more with this and with some other stuff, and we'll see where we end up. I want to get a 2 amp rig that shines, and inspires me to play something better than the bluesy bollocks that I always tend to end up coming out with. So there you go. Some more of that. Some more playing coming up. I did a bit more playing, a little bit more lively. I'm grooving. I'm getting into it. I'm having a dance. I hope you've enjoyed this film. Stick around for this next bit and come back next week, and we'll do something else. I might try a Vox next week. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if this is the sort of stuff you want to see, and you want to join me on this mission to get the B rig on. Know what I mean? All right. Cheers for watching. See ya. Same time, same place next week. Ta-ra for now.